So after a very strong season and the fact we've literally just made an Ange tactic, today we are going to be rebuilding Tottenham Hotspur, a very big team in the Premier League but need a little bit of help to push them to the next level, and today we are going to give ourselves 5 seasons if we need it to get the job done, and the aim is to win literally everything. So let's get right into it. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. You can comment right now any teams you want to see rebuilt as well. Let's go and talk about Tottenham Hotspur. So Tottenham Hotspur in the game are actually a really solid side. I mean, you can see here by the reputation, 4-star, 5-star training, 5-star youth. We know how nice their sort of ground is right now. It's absolutely ridiculous. They've got a fair bit in the bank, 319 million in the bank balance to be exact, 900 million estimated value as well. Their history is looking a little bit like this. So although they get bantered, they've actually got quite a fair bit of trophies in the cabinet. 2 Premier Divisions, 1 European Cup, 2 Europa Leagues, 8 FA Cups, 2 Sky Bet Championships, 4 Carabao Cups, and 7 Community Shields. What they haven't got is a Champions League, and that is why I've come in today to hopefully change that and win them one. If you are going to start off this save back home, you are going to have a budget of 5.7 million. Again, if you watch the rebuilds, the one rule I have is we do not spend any money in the first season unless we literally have to. So, you know, if we're playing as Ajax, you got to sign staff, you got to spend money. But as a rule, I don't like to spend money in the first season. Going into that first season, we are going to be using the Ange 4-3-3. I will say this tactic is going to drastically change over the seasons. And now over on the Patreon, you can get the rebuild file and a brand new tactic for every rebuild. So that means technically you get 7 tactics a week. There's an absolute field day over there, so you can go over and get involved. The link is going to be in the description. There's endless opportunity, endless stuff on there for you to get your hands on, and obviously big giveaways as well. But the idea behind this formation is obviously I like the 4-2-3-1, but I feel like I use it a lot, and Ange does use the 4-3-3 as well, and I thought, do you know what, we'll favour that today, use some of that and actually see what we can do with it. So this is going to be what we're going to be playing with, and as you can see, we've got some good players in this team. I mean, Heung-min Son is going to be the first player we're going to look at. Now, he is 30 years of age, and if we can get a fair price tag for him, I would debate on selling him. He's only going to sort of decline from this point onwards, but for the first season, of course, we're not going to look to sell or bring anyone in, so he's going to be staying with us. Richarlison, realistically for me, is best as a backup option. That's all he's going to be. He's never really going to be a star player, but I will keep him for as long as he doesn't completely stink out the gaff. The next player we're going to talk about, of course, is Maddison, one of their big signings, a very good player. I hope to keep him for the entire rebuild, and hopefully he can develop a little bit better than what he is now, although I will say his attributes look absolutely incredible, so we don't really need to worry too much about him. Of course, their backline's got some good potential in that. Porro, Dragusin, Romero, they've got a very good goalkeeper as well. Their bench is looking okay. A lot of players out on loan. Obviously, some players we can look to sell as well. But overall, it's a decent team. It does need investment in certain areas, but I think realistically, in a first season with this tactic, there's no reason we can't get in the top 4. I'll be a bit disappointed if we didn't, to be honest, because I know how good this tactic actually is. But competitions, we are going to be competing in the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and that Premier Division, and they are predicting a finish of 7th place. Now, if we finish here, this video won't be going live, so let's just say that. I'm hoping to finish in the top 4. Let's get into the first season with an unchanged Ange 4-3-3. Let's go into it. It's the first season, and it's the first cup final against bitter rivals Arsenal. We come out and get off to a flyer of a start there in 54 minutes. Heung-min Son tucks it away, and unfortunately for Arsenal, they have an absolute stinker here, and Werner wraps up the final 2-0. FA Cup didn't go as pretty, though, as we are going to lose to Everton in 1-0 fashion, which I don't really want to talk about, but what I do want to talk about is the Premier League, as we have come out and actually finished in 2nd place. So if you watch the tactic video, we won that literally on goal difference. That is how close it was. Unfortunately, on this occasion, we lost out by 1 point. We had the same goal difference as well against Arsenal. A very, very close season. Not as many players in the stats, though, which is a little bit concerning, but obviously, we did test with the 4-2-3-1. This is going to be the 4-3-3. So let's go and see what players perform, what players didn't, and we can get a bit of a better understanding of what we can improve on going forwards into the first or second, technically, transfer window. So if we go to the tactics now, we can have a little detailed look. And as you can see, Perisic actually scored the most goals out of anybody, and he's out on loan. So that's quite worrying. 14 for Kuleveski, Richarlison with 12, 10 for Maddison, Timo Werner with 7. Despite him, you know, getting quite an important goal in the cup final, I don't think I'm going to be making him permanent. I don't really rate him as a player. 7 for Heung-min Son, 6 for Joshdaly. I mean, Heung-min Son absolutely stunk the gaff out, didn't he? not a good season at all. And I think, to be honest, if we can get money for him, I will consider selling him. Now, in hindsight, despite not having a lot of good players in terms of goals, you know, our top goal scorer at the club scoring only 14, and therefore the assists also being quite negative. In fact, without Kulusevski, we'd have literally been nothing this season because he'd done literally everything. We have got a budget of £67 million, more than that actually, £92 million before we have sold any players, so we can bring in a lot of players. And one thing I love to do, as you know, is I go to the homepage and look at the stats here. So we finished second, defensively we were sort of on track, attacking we were one behind where we did finish, so maybe we bring in some more attack and talent if we can bring in a mixture, but attack might be the priority in this first window. But as you can see, it's a decent first season. I'm not complaining. A second place finish, Champions League football, obviously winning the Carabao Cup as well. That's one season, one trophy, a lot better than what they're doing at the moment in real life. So we're definitely on track for rebuilding this club, and hopefully we can do so. So let's go in to the second transfer window with this big budget. We'll see who we can sell as well. Heung-min Son's definitely got a target on his head. Let's go and have a little look. We are going to wave goodbye to Højbjerg. He is going to get a move, I believe, to the Saudi League or the UAE League for £20 million. Now, he's had a lot of good experiences at Tottenham. He's been a bit of a, I don't want to use the word legend, but he's played a lot of games for Tottenham Hotspur, but he is slowly on the decline now, as you can see by his ability. It was the perfect time to sell him. But also going to wave goodbye to Perisic, again, a player who wanted to leave and he was on a ridiculous wage, so goodbye to him. Rick Diary is going to get his move to Qatar. Again, after that loan season at Bayern, I simply didn't want him back, so we are going to let him go on the free. It frees up an absolute crap ton of wage, which of course we can convert to a transfer budget. We also get £50 million for the Celso, which I don't think is a bad bit of business considering how quickly he has fallen off, and he is actually going to be moving to Al Nassr in the Saudi. They always pay the money, and he's on 300 grand a week. We're going to wave goodbye to Joe Rodon. He is going to stay in the Premier League but go over to West Ham, and considering that he's not the best player, he's actually a Championship player, I don't think £12 million is too bad. And lastly, he didn't have a great first season. He's only getting older. We got a good price tag for him. He is going to go to the Saudi League. As you can imagine, a lot of money. He's on £1.1 million a week now, and we cashed in 88 million. So you can imagine how much money we've freed up now for the players coming in. Let's go over them. I feel like Tottenham have been missing their Harry Kane figure, and I'm not saying this guy's as good as Harry Kane, but he reminds me of him in the way he's, you know, sort of physically built. He's quite a big player, very good finishing-wise, not the most agile, and that is going to be Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord, a player I absolutely love in real life, and he is really good in the game, despite not having the best acceleration. He's got great composure, great finishing, 23 years of age, £135,000 a week, and he sent me back only 34 million, so that is literally half of what we're going to bring in from Heung-min Son. So business-wise, it's really good as well. We're going to sign this player now for the future. We are going to loan him back, or we have loaned him back to Nottingham Forest. That is going to be Danilo coming in. We've offloaded a load of midfield players. This is a player I really like in this game, but definitely could do with another season with 100% guaranteed play time, which is why we are going to loan him back to Nottingham Forest. He sent me back a total of £29 million. Not too bad considering Forest paid 17. I'll happily pay the 12 mil up mark, and we can have him back next season. Then needed a centre-back in desperate need, and that is going to be Inacio. Now, this is a player you probably see in a lot of my rebuilds because he's a very good go-to option. Incredible tackling, great concentration, great heading, pretty quick on the ball as well, good jumping, and he's still only 22. He's a good Premier Division player. He is close to his potential, but of course can grow a little bit, and I just think he's the perfect option for this team, and he sent me back £51 million, and he's on a weekly wage of £160,000. So, I mean, it's a fair bit of money to get him at the club, but at the end of the day, this is going to be a centre-back now, potentially for the next 10 years. So if you break that up over 10 years, it's not too bad. And lastly, and a bit of a luxury signing, is going to be Xavi Simons, coming in from RB Leipzig and obviously previously at PSG, and he is already going to be a good Premier League player at the age of 21, ridiculously well-rounded, can play a variety of roles in midfield. He is going to be on almost £200,000 a week, which, to be fair, to get a player like him to play for Tottenham, it is going to cost that, and he set us back £52 million. So quite an expensive signing, but one for the future again. And if you're noticing, we are bringing in younger players now, so we are building for the future, which of course is something Tottenham want to be doing. And the team now looks a little bit like this. If we go and actually filter by the best 11, it is going to be this exactly. So it is going to be Vicario, Porro, Romero, Inacio, Udogie, Basuma, Bentancur, Maddison, Richarlison, Kulusevski, and Jimenez, the new man up front. But now the bench is going to have some real big players on. So it's got, for example, Mickey van der Ven, a player I've not even discussed so far, Sarr, Johnson, Dragusin, Skip, Xavi Simons, Davies, Solomon Gill, Emerson Royal. We've got Regulon, we've got Ndombele. Now, looking at this bench, of course, there are some players that we are going to offload. So, for example, Oliver Skip, I'm going to give him one more season, see how he performs. We've got the likes of Johnson's another good option there. Also, Solomon and Gill, we're not going to keep either of those realistically unless they do start performing quite well. There's still a lot of players to offload, but when you're doing a rebuild, you don't want to do it all in one season because then the next season becomes really ropey because there's so much change. So we're doing it gradually. We've brought in a lot of new faces. We've got rid of a lot of faces. Hopefully it's not too much. Of course, going in to that second season, we are now playing in the Champions League. So it's one more competition, being the Premier League, the UCL, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup. And I would imagine they are predicting a finish of, I was going to say lower, but actually higher now in 6th place. So let's go in to the, I guess, the 3rd season now. We're getting through this pretty quickly. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to predict a solid... Let's go in to a solid 4th place. We're actually going to make it to the Champions League final against Real Madrid, but unfortunately, they go through and they win it. What we did get right this season, though, is the Premier League, as we are going to win the Premier League just inside of 2 seasons, not 3. Big mishap there before I cut to this part of the video. This is now the actual 2nd season, not the 3rd. So that is going to be 2 seasons played, 1 English Cup, and of course, the Premier League. I mean, you can't really complain at all. It's a very strong start to the rebuild. Jimenez, the 3rd top goal scorer, just behind Ivan Toney in 2nd. We're also going to have Vicario in 2nd place with the most clean sheets. So we are playing some quite good football. Nice to see Jimenez already in the top 3 in his 1st season. The other cups are a little bit cursed, though. We're going to be cursed by the semi-finals. In the FA Cup against Liverpool and the Carabao Cup, not only the same team, the same stage of the competition. So, do you know what? It's still a strong season. Literally so close to making it a perfect season, though, in a final and 2 semi-finals. Of course, we get the Premier League done, but it would have been nice to obviously lift that Champions League very early on. But you can't always have it easy, so let's go in and see what players done the business this season. And so it is going to be a total of 31 goals for Jimenez. Now, this is a player who not many people necessarily would sign, but I always take a gamble on him because he can score goals, and he has proven it time and time again. A really strong season for him. Obviously, Maddison enjoying a great season. Same with Kulusevski. Richarlison not doing too bad, considering he's a backup option. 11 goals for Bentancur, 7 for Xavi Simons. And speaking of Xavi Simons, the 2nd most assists in his 1st season. So the signings I'm making are really, really working really well. Kulusevski, incredible player, by far been the best player of the rebuild so far. 15 for Maddison. We've got Pedro Porro with 12. We've got 10 for Udogie, and we've got Bentancur coming in with 10 as well. So nice to see a mixture of assisters in here. Xavi Simons, again, a real strong 1st season, which was needed for his price tag. And Kulusevski, obviously, a signing I didn't make, a signing they made, and that is really helping us out big time now because he's putting on an absolute masterclass. But still a lot of players we can obviously replace in this team. We've got players who haven't performed. Maybe we can look to offload. Those players are going to be the likes of Johnson, maybe Reguilon, Oliver Skip, Troy Parrott, Solomon, Gill. I'm not going to sell all of them, but these are potential candidates. If we get a good offer, they are going to be leaving. And Dombele, obviously, you know, maybe even Royale. We'll see what offers come in. We have also got a budget of £97 million to spend. So, I mean, that on top of money we can bring in, we can potentially have another big window. So, let's get into season number 3. We're not far off winning the Champions League in season 2. That is a mental statement. We've got to turn to Sporting again and bring in Diamande. Now, this is going to be the ultimate centre-back pairing between him and Ignacio. Maybe one of them as backup. We've literally poached Sporting's back line, and there is nothing they can do about it. We absolutely love to do that in mostly every rebuild because this player is ridiculous. 21 years of age, 15 tackling, incredibly quick, very strong as well, on £155,000 a week, perfectionist personality type, and he set me back 38.5 million, which, to be honest, is a steal. We're going to go over to Club Brugge and sign a player I've never signed before but looks absolutely incredible. That is going to be Antonio Nusa, coming in obviously from the Belgian League, so it's a big step up, and we have got him mainly for backup, but to be fair, there's a very good chance he might get into the team off the rip, to be honest, because his attributes are absolutely phenomenal on £135,000 a week, and he sent me back 26.5 million. Now, for a player of this calibre, and the fact that he's only 20 years of age, and a wonder kid, that's actually quite a fair price. See a signing I've not made, but one I'm happy to have, it is going to be Vuskovic. We know a lot about him already. 11.7 million, a pre-agreed signing. Welcome in. Lastly, because I know the Tottenham fans want him, I think every team wants him, we are going to bring in Big Victor, coming in from Sporting, a world-class player who can play up front as his best, or on the left, or on the right. For us, potentially he's going to play a mixture, because we've got a good striker, but I thought, do you know what, to really push this team to the next level, you need 2 strikers competing for first-team football, and he is definitely going to take the challenge to Jimenez, but if he doesn't, he can obviously play on the left and on the right if needed. Again, 27 years of age, you're not the youngest of the youngest, you are buying a pre-built player here with 17 finishing, very quick, good composure, good fitness, good work rate as well. And as you can imagine, you pay the big bucks. £50 million his contract is going to be on £190,000 a week. But to be honest, this could be potentially a Champions League winning striker. We don't know yet, but hopefully it is going to be. And now the team looks a little bit like this. Filtered by the best 11, I will make sure it is right. It is going to be Vicario in goal, Porro, Romero, Inacio, Udogie, Basuma, Bentancur, Madison, Nusa, Kuleveski, and Big Victor up front. Of course, we did go and make some more signings, or obviously offloaded players. If we go to the transfer history, you can see right now, Ndombele goes on the free, Ben Davey goes on the free, Tanganga on the free, Solomon we get £4.2 million for. So we are obviously offloading players as well. You can see here Dane Scarlett on loan. Bell goes out on loan as well. So we are offloading players as well as bringing in a good selection of them. But this team now, on paper, looks absolutely incredible. It's not just on the first 11. Look at the bench now. Look at the sort of difference of quality. The only thing we possibly could argue is we need a better backup goalkeeper, which we can do in the future. But even then, Forster could do a job. We've got Diamande, Sivens, Jimenez, Mickey van der Ven, Sarr, Gill, Reguilon, Richarlison, Spence, Dragusin, Skip, Danilo. We've got some really good players on this bench now. Some of them maybe still need to be offloaded, but we're slowly building the club up step by step, but only in season 3 to clarify that, and we've got 5 seasons to try and win this Champions League, so there's no real stress. Now the competitions, we are going to be playing in an extra competition. We are going to be playing in the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and I say an extra competition, it's one game, the Community Shield, so not too stressful against Liverpool. Hopefully we can win that as well, and they are predicting a finish of 6th place. Again, I think it's a little bit harsh considering the players we've brought in and where we've been finishing. But let's get into season 3, see if we can tick off any more trophies. About a statement, that Community Shield, we actually win 1-0, and this is his first competitive game. Look who is going to get the goal. It's going to be Victor Gorkes. The FA Cup final now, and it was a bit of a dramatic game, and we get off to quite a good start here in 25 minutes. Van der Ven into Gorkes is very scrappy, and Kuleveski does stick it in at the far post. Unfortunately for us, though, Liverpool do find a way back into the game. 64 minutes on the clock. Endo plays it back into Salah. It's just really good play, to be honest, and a ball in into Nico into the top left-hand corner. Nothing we could really do about that there. And to be fair, we do clutch up right towards the end of the 113th minute. Udogie is going to go in a ball back stick into Victor Gorkes, past Virgil in goal. It is incredible. Fortunately for the Premier League, we are going to drop back down to 2nd place, meaning it is still going to be 1 title in 3 years. Not too annoyed about this because we are going to have another competition 1, which obviously is still going to be very impressive. A little bit annoying we couldn't maintain it, but Man City are a very, very solid team. What I do like to see is that Nusa is the top assister, Victor Gorkes 2nd in the average rating, and the most goals, only 3 goals behind Erling Haaland. But the rest of the competitions, we also are going to win the Carabao Cup in 1-0 fashion over Arsenal. A very close game, but as you can see, Victor Gorkes, again, top goal scorer in this competition. He is taken over. Semi-finals in the Champions League, so no progress there being made, but it is going to be 3 trophies in 1 season, pretty much the English Cup special. We're ticking off trophies for fun. The only one we need to win now is that Champions League. We've got 2 more seasons to try and do it. Of course, next season we are going to have a budget of a little bit less. I mean, I say that, we've been spending big anyway. £49 million, obviously, to take into the 4th window. But to sort of understand what we need to improve on, we need to see who's performed. So going over to the goals, Victor Gorkes does not need replacing. 47 goals from him, 22 for Madison, Kuleveski coming in with 18, Nusa coming in with 10. We've got Mickey van der Ven with 10, 9 for Bentancur. Now, what is really sad to see is this. Now, I don't lock players in. I let players compete for positions. And unfortunately, Jimenez has not been playing too many games. Now, a lot of people might be asking, Josh, why would you sign Victor Gorkes after Jimenez had such a good game, or such a good season, sorry. When Gorkes comes available on the market, you have to sign him, and it's up to Jimenez to compete with him, and clearly he simply has not been given the opportunity. So I'm not going to complain. Gorkes is doing the job to a very, very high level, and assist-wise, we have got 5 players contributing 10 plus assists, which again, considering Gorkes is in there as well, he potentially carried the season quite hard. And technically, Nusa also carried the season quite hard there with 21 assists. Kuleveski doing what he does best, 18 goals and 21 assists. Xavi Simons, very good player again. We are developing really, really well. But what I do think is this tactic does now need a little bit of a tweak. So we are going to tweak it for the 4th season, change a few of the player roles because I don't think they're necessarily in their most comfortable positions. So we're going to go and do that, and then we're going to go and actually sign players designated for those positions. So let's get in to the 4th transfer window and see who we can pick up. So the first player we're going to pick up, and again, it is going to be one for the future and for now potentially a backup, it's going to be Alan Velasco coming in from Fulham. He's going to set us back a fair price tag of 40 million, but he looks absolutely incredible, very well rounded, good dribbling, good finishing, great composure, very quick as well, and of course can play in 4 positions. And if you don't know by now, one of my favourite things to get in a player is a player who can cover more than one position. So this guy is an absolute dream, and if we can, we will get him involved. So that is going to be sign-in 1. It's actually quite a small window, as we are only going to bring in one more player, and that is going to be Ruben Neves. And again, I'll be honest, it wouldn't be a player I'd necessarily go out and pay money for, but the fact is, he is a freebie. He's got tons of Premier League experience. He's still a very good player at the age of 29. He's on £185,000 a week, so I know it's a fair bit of money, but we spent £0 getting him in at the club. Why not take him? This is going to be the team going into the 4th season. I've done a lot of tweaking with the tactic. Again, you can get this rebuild file and the tactic over on that Patreon. We do change it now and then, so obviously as you go through seasons, you sign different players who meet different requirements, and maybe you simply need to change it up anyway. So the goalkeeper is going to be Vicario, Porro, Romero, Inacio, Udogie, Neves, Bentancur, Maddison, Kuleveski, Nusa, and Big Victor up front. The bench is looking incredibly strong right now, as you can see. A very good mixture of players, young players, some experience in there as well. But realistically, the likes of Jimenez is going to need to compete for his position. I'm not going to gift him the opportunity. If Victor comes in and has a season like last season, I'm not going to bench him. I'll be absolutely mad to do so. So let's get into the next season. Of course, we are going to be competing now in 5 competitions. Again, the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Community Shield. We need to win the Champions League to complete this rebuild. Of course, now this is going to be the 4th season, so if we don't get it done this season, we are really pushing it to get it done on the last season. Let's get into it. They are going to be predicting a finish of 5th place, quite harsh again. Let's get into season 4. So we're going to start off with the Premier League, but we have won it lastly on goal difference. Now this is going to be a very close season, and actually what happened in the tactic testing video with the Ange tactic. We literally won it on goal difference over Man City, who are having a very dominant spell. So luckily we edged it on that. Victor Gorkes comes in with the 2nd most amount of goals. Kuleveski and James Maddison 1st and joint 2nd with the most assists, and picking up the most clean sheets is going to be Vicario, who has not put a single foot wrong this entire rebuild, so fair play to him. Going to be back-to-back Carabao Cup finals. We are going to win it against Brentford, a bit easier opposition, and Mickey van der Ven takes the game to him. We've been here before, the Champions League final, this time against PSG, and Pedro Porro gets off to a flyer of a start there inside of 10 minutes played. You cannot complain, but unfortunately you can complain about a PSG equaliser as they come in and wrap it up, but we do go on to win the Champions League. Xavi Simons, 102 minutes. That's not all we win. We also go on to win the FA Cup here against Chelsea on penalties. Not the most exciting game, which is why I didn't really decide to choose the highlights there. And the Community Shield, we also win against Tottenham. Not against Tottenham, we are Tottenham, against Man City in 1-0 fashion. So it is going to be the perfect sweep, the perfect last season. Obviously, we did have 5 seasons, but there is no point carrying on now because we have won literally everything. As you can see, the best at scoring goals, the best at conceding, only 17 scored. Every single trophy won, literally everything fit in place incredibly well. Going over to the tactics, we are going to look at the goal scorers. It's going to be 39 for Victor Gorkes, Maddison with 24, 19 for Kuleveski, Mickey van der Ven with 16, 13 for Antonio Nusa, Bentancur with 8, 7 for Diamande, Sivens with 7, and obviously 6 coming in for Velasco, who had an okay first entry season to the Premier League. Now, assist-wise, we are going to have 24 for Kuleveski, 19 for Maddison, 13 for Velasco, Bentancur with 13. Everyone performing really, really well. I do think the tactical tweaks made the big difference in certain areas, especially, you know, defensively, we really solid ourselves up right there. So again, if you do want to carry on this rebuild with this fantastic team and fantastic tactic, you can go over. I've updated this one now, so you are going to get the rebuild file and the tactic, and you will have a budget of 50, bit more than 50, you'll have £72 million to carry on this rebuild and endless players to work on. So a big rebuild file for you to get your hands on. Carry on a very fun save. If you have enjoyed today's rebuild, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and keep commenting below what you want to see next, a tactic or a rebuild. We're all on one channel now, daily posts. Be sure to turn on notification bell as well, share the channel about, and I'll see you in the next one.